There's one thing I found in common with all successful online coaching businesses, and that is them having the ability to focus on the one thing that matters for their business to move the needle and move it forward. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can see what you need to focus on. Because if you can do that, if you can not be distracted by things that right now don't really matter, your business is going to grow like never before. And so many people are getting distracted, and you may be as well. And it doesn't mean that the advice that you're getting distracted by is bad. It may just mean it's not the advice that you need right now. So for someone to say, you just need to post more content and start posting 3-4 times a day, potentially that's good advice for what you need if you need more attention. However, if you already have attention, if you already have engagement, that's not the biggest bottleneck in your business, and it's not the thing you need to put focus on. If someone says to you, you need to hire someone and getting people on board and delegating, okay, potentially you're at a capacity issue and you're spending a lot of work on the business and it's stunting your growth moving forward. That would be good advice. But there's a chance that's not the case. Right now, it's actually building more revenue, making your business more profitable to give yourself that leverage in the future. So for you, it's saying, okay, there is good advice out there, but it doesn't mean it's the right advice for me and my business. What do I need to focus on right now to move my business forward? And if you can understand that, if you can prioritize that, and if you can execute and implement on those things, you're going to continue moving your business forward. So I want your thinking to, at the end of this video, understand that this is what I need to focus on. This is what's getting my attention. What I do want to say, like, that might get uncomfortable for you as well, because it's not necessarily comfort work. What you're probably working on right now is things that are comfortable, things that keep you busy, reactive work. And oftentimes we know there's something we should be doing, but fundamentally we're not doing it for whatever reason. If it's a mental block, whatever it is. And how do we get away from that? How can we change our mindset to be saying, okay, this might feel a bit uncomfortable in terms of implementing this type of work because maybe I'm not used to it. But if I genuinely want my business to move forward, if I genuinely do mean I want to hit the goals that I say I do, am I going to show up in a way that does it? And that's what we're going to essentially talk about today. When it comes to identifying your bottleneck in your business, the best place for us to start is actually looking at your pipeline that you have. So all coaching businesses are going to run on the same pipeline. So it's looking at that first and then seeing where the potential leaks come from. And then I'll show you how we can actually move on and see what area it is for you. So if we see a pipeline like so, initially we have traffic as the first step. So are we getting traffic onto our page? If that's our Instagram page, if that's our YouTube, etc., is there enough traffic coming in? If we have traffic in a good spot, we then move on to followers. Is the traffic turning into people who are not just seeing your stuff, but actually following you on Instagram, subscribing to you on YouTube, whatever it may be? And then when we have followers there, what do we next need? We need conversations with those people, because someone could have a massive following, but have very few conversations happening with them. And then that's going to be a massive leak that they have. So next up, we have conversations. Then once we have conversations in place, most of those conversations, anyone who's like a warm lead, an ideal client, we want to get them booked in for a consultation call. So next up on the pipeline is calls. And then finally, obviously from calls, we want to turn them into paying clients. So next up, we have revenue as the goal. So for you, it's actually seeing what is the thing that is leaking the most. Is it literally that step one of, yeah, there's just not enough traffic coming in the page. That's something that I need to work on. Maybe there's a lot of traffic coming in, but you're seeing a breakdown with not that many people following the account. So we're noticing there's a leak there. Is it conversations happening? Okay, I actually have a lot of followers on my account, not really having much conversations happening. Or there's actually loads of conversations happening, but for whatever reason, there's just not enough interest there. There's not enough people getting booked in for calls. Or do you have a lot of calls? A lot of people showing initial interest and getting on a call to speak more, but then you're finding a leak in terms of closing rate and revenue. So there will be slight leaks across this. Of course there is. But what is the one biggest thing that if you focus on it is going to help fix everything else? I'm going to break this down into 5 different levels. Essentially, there's 5 stages that your business could be at in terms of the biggest thing that you need to focus on. And what I also want to say that's really, really important is something may be an issue for you now, or like a main bottleneck for you now, and you solve it. And in the future, it happens again. So I'll just give you like a real life example of that. Let's say if a coach is working with clients, obviously, they're building up and maybe they want an extra 20 clients for themselves until they're at capacity. So the biggest thing to focus on for them potentially is more lead generation, getting more people into conversations and onto calls. And let's say if they fill themselves up, so now they have a capacity issue, they need to hire a coach. When they hire a coach, guess what? The capacity isn't an issue anymore. And it goes back to saying, okay, I need to put more focus again on generating leads and turning those leads into clients, etc., etc. So with that in mind, you can see how as you evolve, it doesn't mean that you evolve through a bottleneck that will never come back. It just means for the stage that you're at, you solve that thing and it might come back to you in the future again. For each of these levels as well, what I want to give you is actually a real life client example so you can understand how my mind worked in terms of helping them, because maybe it's something that you can relate to for you and your own business. So level 1 is attention. And this is essentially not enough people knowing who you are. A real life example of that is one of my clients, Ollie. Ollie Hines, he's been with me for nearly 2 years now, which is mad. And when he came to me, he was at a point in his business, he was doing about 4 to 5K a month. His business was plateaued for 8 to 10 months. And the biggest thing for him was, my audience isn't growing. Everyone in my audience I've kind of spoken to, I've messaged. And yeah, I'm sure there's still a few people eventually will turn into clients. But if I want to double, triple my business, if I want consistent sales each and every week, then this is I need a new strategy. This isn't going to work for me. So our primary focus was getting attention to Ollie, getting more people to find out about Ollie, who he is, and essentially build know, like, and trust with those people so they eventually turn into warm leads, eventually turn into clients. But the biggest thing was attention. So for example, let's say if I said, okay, Ollie, I really want us to work on your sales calls. That's not bad advice. It doesn't mean that he was absolutely perfect at sales. And have we gone over sales in the last 2 years? Of course we have. But at that point in time, that would have not helped or fixed the issues that he had. What we needed to do is how can we get more traffic onto your page? How can we turn that traffic into followers? And that was our primary focus. So for you, if you feel that your audience isn't growing, if you feel that just in terms of your pipeline, it always kind of dries up and you don't really have new people coming in, then your primary focus is attention, getting more people to know about you. A few things that I would focus on here: top of funnel content. If you have ad budget to spend, running traffic campaigns where you're getting your piece of content out to people who don't know you. So strangers, going out to an audience of people who don't know you, trying to get their attention and bring them onto your page. Trial reels, such a good thing that you can leverage here. This is a free way of you to get exposure to people who don't follow you, essentially. So we've done a full trial reel strategy with our clients and just how they can leverage that to the maximum of their ability. So very much the same for you. What are you doing to get attention? If you need more people coming into your world, are you doing the necessary things for that to happen? So that is level 1. Level 2, we have conversion. So this is in a case where maybe your audience is growing and you are getting new followers coming in, but conversations that you're having aren't meaningful. Maybe people aren't replying at all. Maybe there's a few replies happening, but from the replies, nothing meaningful comes of it. You're getting ghosted, people aren't replying. And there's just some gap between, okay, people kind of watching my stuff and people actually wanting to get booked in a call or interested in my coaching. If that is you in this specific case, then things that you need to be working on is, okay, let me not just focus on attention being the thing. So it's different, of course, level 1. Now attention isn't the issue. I have attention. It's how do I build know, like, and trust with that attention? How do I nurture these people? How do I move these people forward? So a primary example of this, Sean, one of my clients who has over doubled his business in the last few months, he was getting a huge amount of attention in terms of his business. But there was a gap between initial attention and followers and actually turning those into conversations which are going to lead to people wanting to hear about his coaching program and wanting to get booked in for a call. So our primary focus was, how are we going to build that know, like, and trust? So we put a lot of focus in that middle of funnel section, which is content which isn't just trying to drive attention and drive new people in. It's with the people who are already in our audience. How are we going to build more authority with them? How are we going to show them that we have the solution to the problems that they have? That's what we focus on with Sean. And in the meantime, already a really decent business. He was able to double income by us just putting our focus into that. Next up, we have level 3, which is everything around sales. So in this specific bottleneck, you're actually getting calls booked in, but you're being faced with a lot of objections. There may be people saying they can't afford it, they need to think about it. There's some gap between people saying that they're interested in your coaching and people actually converting and signing up. I've had clients who've joined who have had a lot of leads, a lot of interest, but they were missing that point of actually getting people over the line and to sign up into clients. And I actually want to give you an example here with another one of my clients, Ollie, but a different Ollie, where this ended up being a bottleneck for him when he actually fixed the attention and the conversion thing. And I think this is actually quite important to bring up. Sometimes it's going to be the stages that you have. So initially, we needed to get more attention onto his page, which he fixed. Then very quickly, he was like focusing a lot on new followers, but there wasn't a conversion piece there. He's like, yeah, I'm getting like this amount of new followers in a day, but only this amount of book calls. So we focused a lot on building that know, like, and trust. Then he started getting a lot of calls booked in, and guess what? His closing rate went a lot lower. And then we had to put our time and focus into that. And this is very much what can be happening to you in your business. What will get you to the next level isn't the thing that's got you to where you are so far. And as you fix one thing, there might be something else that opens up. And Ollie's case here is a prime example of what that happened. On that trajectory, he literally scaled from 10K to 50K a month by fixing all of these issues. For sales for you, if this is something that is an area that you know you need to improve on, obviously it's going to come down to you improving your objection handling. But even before objection handling, looking at the way that you're putting your offer together. Is my offer set up in a way where I would say yes to this myself? If I was the person on the receiving end, has this become like a no-brainer offer, but this is something that I definitely want to do? And for me, how you can build that isn't through fake urgency or fake scarcity. It's building a customized roadmap for the individual, saying, okay, this is where you are, this is where you want to be, and I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to help you get there. And having a lot of conviction around what you say, showing them that you're the solution to that, and yeah, just backing yourself, understanding something that I think is so important. Any call that you're on, remember, you don't necessarily need that client in your life or in your business. Yes, of course, you want more clients and you'd want them to sign up, but is one client going to change your life and your business? It's not. But what is the impact you and your coaching can have on their life? So if you take that energy onto the call, being like, okay, I'm on the call for this person because this isn't going to change my life, but it has a huge opportunity to change their life. And you show up with the conviction and the want to help them, but you detach from the emotion around the whole call. That is what I want you focusing on with sales. As a coaching business, if you have attention, that attention you're turning into conversations, and those conversations you're turning into sales, what's going to happen ultimately? That brings me on nicely to level 4, which is all about capacity. Your capacity and your ability to continue growing the business with the extra workload that you're taking on. So signs of this can be you have a good month with taking clients on, but then you take your foot off the gas for the next month because you have so much client onboarding to do. Your systems probably aren't in place like they should be. You aren't delegating enough work, and a lot of it's relying on you. And then there's that kind of fluctuation in your business of, okay, I'm going to push a bit when things feel like I can and manageable, but then when I do, I'm overloaded with work and I need to essentially recalibrate with that. So what we need to do is focus on a few things. But before I talk about hiring, it's actually focusing on you and protecting your boundaries and improving your boundaries. So this is something that is really, really important. And as you progress in as a coach and as a business owner, and your authority continues to rise in the space, I believe your boundaries should get stricter and stricter as you move. Right at the start, if you're just coaching and you have a few clients, whatever about boundaries, like give an amazing service, over deliver, and give people exactly what they need. And as the business continues to grow, get more strict boundaries in place and protecting your time, not just responding to clients every second of every day. Very, very important. Secondly, it's having the right systems in place. For me, I don't believe you should just build perfect systems initially in your business. If attention is the biggest focus for yours and someone says, yeah, let's build all your systems in place. To me, I completely disagree with that because it's not actually a problem now. So why are we building perfect systems when not enough people even know who you are? Let's first get enough people to know who you are. Let's secondly turn those people into clients. And then we're like, oh, this feels a bit chaotic. Now we're like, okay, now it's time for us to improve our systems and improve the business. So for anyone who feels they're at a point in their business where it relies fully on them, and anytime they have a good injection of clients and sign-ups, that they feel overwhelmed and they almost have to take a step back, the biggest thing you need to fix is the capacity in your business, the ability to wake up tomorrow and take on an extra 5 clients and being able to do that consistently. When you can fix that, that is going to be the thing that essentially steps you forward. And the one thing I want to say on this, something I've seen so often is coaches actually don't think they have a capacity issue. They still may think they have a lead issue. And this is because subconsciously, because they don't realize it, so it's more of a subconscious thing, they're holding themselves back from other areas of business because of how busy they are. So they're like, oh no, it's not a capacity issue, like my leads aren't that consistent. But why aren't your leads that consistent? Is it because you're not actually putting in the work, because you know how busy you're going to get, so your efforts are now subpar? So it's remembering that. Are you actually trying to maximize those areas? You're not. You're probably holding yourself back from doing it. So it is a capacity issue, because guess what? When you fix that and you're like, oh, you know, I feel a lot lighter, business feels a lot lighter, feels like we can take on a lot more people. Guess what's going to happen? The energy you put into your marketing improves a lot, and everything else will flow nicely from that. Level 5. This is when you, as the CEO, is the main bottleneck in the business, because the business still runs entirely on you, or at least on your brain. So even if you have team members, they still feel fully reliant on you because you haven't created the right SOPs, so standing operating procedures. You haven't instructed with the right KPIs, so key performance indicators with their data, and you're just doing kind of reactive work. So you're like, yeah, I've kind of fixed the capacity issue. I have a team there, maybe I have a setter, maybe I have a coach, but do you actually have the right processes in place where that can be streamlined? The business isn't ran completely on your time and on what's going on up here and reacting to messages from your team, but you actually build systems and processes in place for them so they can execute in the best way possible. So this is definitely a more advanced stage of the business, but when you get here, it's very, very important where you don't just say, I'm just a coach, I'm just a business owner, I've hired them, like that's enough for me. It's how can I actually now step it up? If I've been used to coaching clients and getting a lot of fulfillment from that, how can I now coach my team? How can I now be a leader, not just for my clients, but for my team? And this is a huge area to focus on. So what I would say is having that mindset. One, it's getting the right SOPs in place for your team. It's treating your business and your coaching frameworks as like, this is my IP. How can I set that up? Essentially the frameworks into a way that any coach could come on board, and my processes are so clear of how we get clients results that they can emulate what I do. So that's level 5, stepping into CEO role and ensuring that your team are coming on, they know how to perform at their best, and they know how to get you results, whether that's in the marketing, whether that's in the sales, or whether that's in your client delivery. What I now want you doing after going through level 1 to level 5 is identifying for you what is the biggest bottleneck in your business. And even just how to think about it is, what is the one thing out of level 1 to 5 that if I fix that, my business would improve the most? Because I understand that there's probably elements of all of it that resonate with you, but this is where you can get distracted again. You'll try be like, okay, I'm going to fix a bit of all of these, and then nothing really changes at all. So what is the one thing for you and your business that if you fix it, it's going to see the most growth and improvement for you and the situation that you're in? Once you have that in place, you're probably saying, okay, I know what it is, but what do I actually do with it? Or how do I actually make this realistic for me to go away and implement? What I know is a lot of coaches actually have self-awareness. So I'm pretty sure you've been able to identify your bottleneck. But I also know what the gap is, and that is knowing the bottleneck and actually doing something about it and executing accordingly. Because what do people do? They revert back into comfort work. They know what they should be doing, but they have their WhatsApp open, they have their Instagram open, they're getting back to clients, they're doing the easy things. And yes, they feel busy, but they know there's a bigger thing to be focusing on. And what I want to say to you is your business is going to grow when your calendar matches the bottleneck that you have. In the next video, what we're going to talk through is exactly how that can look, how you can set up your calendar to maximize the growth in your business. So you're not consistently getting distracted, but you're doing the thing that moves the needle. If you want to see the video, all you need to do, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, turn on the notifications, and I'll see you on the next one.